The European Commissioner, Ursula von der Leyen, was warned the end of the bloc could be in sight as more countries opt to break with the Schengen area rules as migration on the continent spirals. The European Union is facing a major crisis as nearly a dozen nations inside the bloc have rebelled against Brussels' policies on border checks, sparking fears the Union could come crumbling down. Among those issues that blunt warning is ex-MEP Ben Habib, who said new checks on borders for people entering European Union nations could signal an end of the bloc's freedom of movement, and could also spell the end of the EU. Countries that have reinstated border restrictions, such as identity vetting, passport checks, police interviews and vehicle inspections, include the likes of France, Germany, Slovakia and Sweden. So far 11 EU nations have so far ignored the EU policies as the illegal migration crisis experienced in Europe worsened. Restrictions on movement were removed between member states as part of the Schengen Treaty, a pact signed back in 1985 that largely abolished border checks. Speaking to GB News, Mr. Habib described the decision to remove the borders as daft. That the agreement created, amongst other things, a massive security risk and that the removal of borders exposed these countries. According to Mr. Habib, 333,000 illegal migrants entered the bloc last year, and once inside they could travel wherever they liked, making it so difficult to monitor movement and people smugglers. But he added, thank goodness a handful of countries, including France, have reinstated border checks. There is now hope illegal migration might be There is now also hope that the idiocy of ever closer union under the jackboot of Brussels will be seen for the threat it poses to European nations and our security. Freedom of movement is a fundamental pillar of the EU. With any luck, the realization that it is deeply damaging will also spell the end of the EU. It comes as the European Union broke the deadlock to approve a new migrant deal, which makes it easier for member states to remove asylum seekers who submit unsuccessful bids to remain on the continent. The new rules will see the creation of asylum centers in southern European countries. The hope is that within 12 weeks, each arrival will be processed, and those who do not meet the requirements will be expelled immediately. In return for building the centers, the bloc's inland states will have to either accept a quota of migrants or pay into a fund that will aid the management of the crisis. The EU Commission said in a statement, this pact on migration and asylum will ensure that there is an effective European response to this European challenge. It means that Europeans will decide who comes to the EU and who can stay, not the smugglers. It means protecting those in. This pact will also ensure that member states share the effort responsibly, showing solidarity with those that protect our external borders while preventing illegal migration to the EU.